What is going on, people? TripleM back again with another video. It's a daily dose of football content, and today I would like to talk about what happened yesterday evening at Goodison Park as Manchester United walk away with 3 points despite conceding early on. Now, I listened to a lot of people's match reactions. I was obviously on the match reaction on YouTube with All for United, listening to what other people had to say, and I feel like I'm in the minority because a lot of people were criticizing yesterday's performance. Like, the result was great, but a lot of people were saying the performance wasn't that great, and I just gotta say I disagree, and I'll explain why in this video. But you have to understand, Goodison Park is not an easy place to go. Everton, up until playing us, were unbeaten in the last 6 games in the league. Now, I know to a lot of people, they look at the position in the table and say, well, that's not that impressive. It is. If you actually watch the games, it is. The reason why Everton haven't won a lot of games is because they don't have a number 9. Calvert-Lewin has been injured, and Maupay just isn't it. Maupay just isn't that guy. Trust me and believe me when I say, if Everton had a number 9, they win the Merseyside derby. If Everton have a number 9, they win majority of the games they've played this season. They actually win, and they're actually much higher in the table, and we're actually praising Frank Lampard for being an overachiever. But if buts and maybes don't count in football, so we are where we are. I think Everton was a very difficult team to play, and I'm very proud of the way we conducted ourselves yesterday evening, simply because I know that Goodison Park is a hard place to go, and I felt like we were going to lose that game. Just between you and me, I was worried about that fixture. Let's talk about it, though. In terms of XG, Manchester United dominated the game. Our XG was sitting at 1.83. Everton's was sitting at 0.37. Like, does any more need to even be said? I know some of you don't really believe in XG, so let's talk about possession. Manchester United at 60% of the possession. Manchester United created majority of the chances. I think we had 3 big chances created and more chances in general than Everton to their 0. We had more shots on target. We had more corners. What more metrics do you want to measure the game? We dominated Everton. Yes, there were moments where Everton were allowed to get into the game, especially at the beginning of the game. Iwobi had acres of space to set up that beautiful shot for that beautiful goal to put his team 1-0 up. But apart from that, Everton didn't really do much. Apart from the last minutes of the 90 and stoppage time, plus the starting portion of the game, the first sort of 10-15 minutes, Everton didn't really do anything in that game. All they do is sat back and soaked up pressure and looked to hit us on the break. They played basically in one phase of play, which you can't do in a football match if you want to be competitive. You can't just rely on the counter, because there's going to be moments where you have a set piece. There's going to be moments where the game restarts, like a kickoff after you concede a goal. There's going to be moments where you have a throw-in. There's going to be moments where you have the possession and you can't hit the team on the break, and they're set up as well, and you need to find a way to progress the ball up the field and break your way through them. And Everton just weren't able to do that. The only positives from Everton came on the counter-attack, so that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. When you're a big team going away to Goodison Park, or going away to Villa Park, or going away to Selhurst Park at Crystal Palace, you are going to get hit on the break because you're playing the high line. You have the attacking initiative. You've got the possession. You are saying, we've got better quality players, so we're going to leave the back door open because we're that confident we're going to score against you. It happens all the time. Watch Man City play. Watch Liverpool in their prime days under Klopp play. Even when they won the league, they were getting hit on the break. Anyways, let's talk about individual performances, starting with the boy Casemiro, because I saw a lot of people whose opinions I respect about football, yeah? People who I agree with most of the time, and I think talk a lot of sense. Even when I disagree with them, I say, damn, man, but they presented their argument really well. A lot of those people that I respect said Casemiro didn't play well yesterday, and it had me really confused. I had to really think about it and say to myself, am I being biased? Am I being biased because I liked Casemiro, or did he actually have a good game yesterday? Yes, he made a lot of mistakes. Yes, he lost the ball a couple of times, which could have led to the goal. And yes, there is still a betting in period that's required. But I believe that Casemiro needs to start every game going forward as long as he is fit. Because yesterday's performance, the way we dominated possession, and the fact that we controlled most of the game against Everton is down to Casemiro in part. Yes, Diego Dalot made a lot of mistakes in terms of passing, and I think that's down to his lack of chemistry with Casemiro. I think that's down to his chemistry with Casemiro, and the reason why is because if you notice, every time that Dalot lost the ball, not every time, but most of the times, it was when he was trying to pass into the midfield. How many times did Dalot try to play a ball across the midfield and it got intercepted by an Everton player? Do you know why that is? He's not used to Casemiro's movements. We've been playing with McTominay in the midfield. McTominay doesn't show for the ball. McTominay doesn't drop to the back four, collect the ball, and distribute it up the field. That's not McTominay's game. McTominay waits for other people to bring the ball up to him. He goes hiding. You know, like if you actually see him, he literally goes hiding. He stands behind opposition players instead of availing himself for the back four. Casemiro is the opposite. Casemiro comes deep and wants to show himself for the ball. And I don't think Dalot, Luke Shaw, Varane, Well, Varane's obviously used to it from the Madrid days, but and he didn't play yesterday anyways. But I don't think Martinez and Lindelof are used to that. And I don't think Eriksen and Bruno are either, because you can tell every time Bruno loses the ball, every time Eriksen loses the ball, if you look, like sometimes on the cameras, I know it's hard when you're watching from home because the camera doesn't always show these things, but if you pay attention, every now and then you see the camera zoom out and Eriksen or Bruno is getting absolute pelters from Casemiro, and he's trying to tell them to calm down. He's trying to tell them to calm down. He's trying to conduct things. He's trying to control the tempo of the game. And I love that, man. So I think Casemiro had a very good game yesterday, despite the fact that many people were, questioning his performance. I think he played well. The assist to Ronaldo was exceptional. It shows something about Casemiro's game that many people don't recognize. First of all, just the vision and the foresight to receive the ball in the midfield, look up and know that Cristiano Ronaldo is making a run, so I'm going to play a perfectly weighted pass into the opposition half from my own half and make sure that it lands exactly where Ronaldo needs it in order to convert the chance. That alone is just chef's kiss. Second of all, the technical ability to execute the pass. And third of all, the composure, the cool, calm, and collected head, cooler than an ice cube's piss, to actually pull that off. Bravo. And why don't people recognize this in Casemiro's game? Yesterday wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a lucky assist. He's done this before. It's just that when you're playing next to Modric and Kroos, you don't need to do it that often. I think at United, you're going to see more of that from Casemiro because we don't have Modric and Kroos. And sometimes Bruno and Eriksen, they just go and do their own things because they get very excited. They want to be the main man of the show. They want to play, football like the ball's a ticking time bomb. So Casemiro's like, you know what? I'm going to take matters into my own hands and I'm going to distribute the ball effectively. And I love that. When was the last time we had an enforcer in the midfield? When was the last time we had a destroyer who takes control of the game and grabs it by the scruff of the neck? That's what I love about Casemiro. Anyways, enough of the Casemiro propaganda. Let's talk about Antony, because I tell you what, 3 goals in his first 3 games. Fun fact, no Manchester United player in Premier League history has ever done that. In their first 3 games in a red shirt, scoring 3 goals. It's amazing. And I know some people don't care about goals and assists, but I have a secret for you. Goals and assists win games of football. So it turns out they're pretty important. I know, right? I didn't know. Goals and assists, apparently they're really important to winning games of football. So if you're not a stat merchant, listen, the point I'm trying to make is, listen, I know his overall performance, there's still a lot of red flags, but he's getting there. He's getting there. He's doing what he can, and I love his attitude. I love the fact that he is actually willing to run at players. I love the fact that he is actually willing to be the guy to step up for Manchester United. I don't mean to bring Jadon Sancho into this, but Jadon Sancho has been timid. He's been shy. He's been lacking in confidence. And on top of that, his technical ability hasn't really been able to bail him out. Antony, is the complete opposite. Antony hasn't really displayed a great level of technical proficiency. Yes, he scored an amazing goal against Manchester City, an amazing goal against Arsenal, and an amazing goal against Everton. But we haven't seen the best of Antony yet, and still he's finding ways to impact the scoreline. And that's what I like, is he's got that dog in him. Even when he's not playing well, he's trying. He's trying, and you can tell he's trying by his body language, his demeanor, and just how confident he is on the ball. I wish Sancho was a little bit more like Antony. I don't mean just cut in and try shoot, but I mean just show a little bit more vigor, a little bit more character. Express yourself a little bit more. You know what I mean? That's what I like about Antony. Anyways, let's talk about Ronaldo. I've been very, very critical of Ronaldo for the better part of, I want to say, 6 months. I think halfway through last season, I really started to turn on Cristiano Ronaldo. But today, I'm not going to say anything negative about Ronaldo. I'm just going to say, well done. Well done on 700 club goals. Well done on a magnificent career. He is undoubtedly one of the best goal scorers of all time. Personally, he's not my GOAT. He's not the greatest player I've ever seen play football, but he definitely is the greatest goal scorer. When it comes to goal scoring specifically, he is a fantastic player. And the crazy thing about Ronaldo is when you document his career, when you actually look at his career objectively, I know there's Messi fans out there who like to pretend like Ronaldo's trash and people who on the internet who are just childish and can't give credit where credit is due. But Ronaldo, this guy's a mentality monster. He's the definition of it, because if you look at his career and you study it, this guy came from Sporting. He didn't really have much to his game. He was very good at dribbling. He had explosive pace, explosive athleticism, and that's how he used that to his advantage, basically, to get a one-up on the defenders. He then developed his technique. He became a good passer of the ball. He became a good header of the ball. He became a good shooter of the ball. So he polished every attacking aspect of his game. Then he went to the mental side. The things that have nothing to do with technical ability and athleticism, he went to the mental side. Positional awareness, knowing when to run in behind, knowing how not to get caught offside, knowing how to play mind games on the defender. And by the way, he did this whilst playing on the wing. And then his athleticism started to diminish. It started to fall away. He wasn't as quick. He wasn't as explosive. His vertical leap was not as consistent. What does he do? He says, I'm going to become a number 9. I'm going to become a poacher. I'm going to expand less energy. I am just going to lurk like a vulture around the box and circle my prey. And every single time they look the other way, I'm going to go in for the kill. This guy has evolved his game in a way that very few players can. The mental fortitude and relentless desire to be the best is something that cannot be taught. You either have it or you don't. It's that competitive spirit. It's that thing, that itch when you wake up in the morning and you just want to graft. You just want to get in the gym and go hard. This guy has it, and he has it in abundance. It never seems to run out. Even at the age of 37, even after the passing of his son, he still wanted to play football. He's actually a psycho, but in a good way, right? Like he's got this energy about him that I wish more Manchester United players had. And that's one thing you can never fault Ronaldo on. Whatever you think of him as a footballer, whatever you think of him as a player, you can never fault his professionalism, despite what the media tries to paint him. And no matter how much I criticize Ronaldo, I've always said that the professionalism is something I can never fault him on. So well done to Cristiano Ronaldo, man. Well done on a great career. And honestly, even though I want him to leave the club, there's no bad feelings. There's no bad feelings. I am a little bit hurt, though. I'm not going to lie. The fact that he wants to leave Manchester United again for the second time, it didn't go down well with me. But I think I've kind of moved on from that. I've kind of accepted that he's going to leave. And, if he's here, we might as well get the best out of him, man. Especially now that Martial's injured. I mean, I don't want to see Rashford playing up front. I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather see Ronaldo playing up front than Rashford at this point in time now that Martial's injured. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. As much as I'm not a huge fan of Ronaldo, you got to give credit where credit is due. And that's all I've got to say. One last thing about the Everton game. I think that Luke Shaw played well. I think that's worth mentioning. Now, I know people don't rate Luke Shaw, and I'm one of them. I personally think that Luke Shaw is on borrowed time. But looking at yesterday's performance specifically, he needed to start. He needed to start because Malacia just ain't there yet. Malacia started off well. He had 4 really good games, and then, it got a little bit shaky. He started making mistakes. He started getting caught out of position, and he started really exposing his age, really exposing his lack of experience. And I think that is why when we signed Tyrell Malacia, not just because of the price, but also because of the fact that he played for Feyenoord, also the fact that he came from the Eredivisie, just where he was in his career, I was not really expecting that much. And that's why he exceeded my expectations. I think Malacia is ahead of schedule. He really is in terms of his development. So I'm not worried about Malacia. I'm not writing Malacia off. I'm not saying Malacia shouldn't start games anymore. I'm just saying that Luke Shaw needed to start at the weekend. Where we go from here, I don't know. It will be interesting to see what Ten Hag does with those two. If he lets them fight out for the position, start one this game, start one next game. It's going to be interesting to see how he decides to handle that situation. But I would not be mad if Luke Shaw started the next game. And if he plays bad, put Malacia back in the team. If he continues to play well, keep him there for a little bit, just for the short term. But anyways, got nothing else to say. It's been your boy TripleM. Wow, this is a long video, 13 minutes. Jesus Christ. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.